I'm Maureen Muthoni Gachiri. I'm from Kenya, proudly Kenyan. My training is legal. I'm a lawyer through and through. So I started working with the UN Refugee Agency as an intern, fresh from law school. I was attached to the Refugee Status Determination Unit, and I found my calling to work with refugees. So I was purely doing RSD, which is Refugee Status Determination, and I wanted to have a change and just broaden my expertise and my experience. So I got in contact with ICMC, the International Catholic Migration Commission, but now I shifted my roles from RSD, Refugee Status Determination. Now I was doing resettlement. And I'd never done resettlement. It was a totally new challenge, because the way status determination we interview is not the same. It's not the same way they interview for resettlement, because status determination people interview in terms of you're probing. It's like you're investigating. You're like a judge, jury, and everything. For one to be considered a refugee, you must actually be fleeing from your country of origin. You must have a well-founded fear of persecution, which could be you're fleeing because of race, religion, nationality, political opinion, you're a membership of a particular social group, and you must show that the authorities in your country were unable or were unwilling to offer you state protection. There are certain rights that you don't have as an individual, that you've lost them while you were fleeing. And for example, you can't easily open a bank account. You cannot easily get employment. You can't freely get a house, because in most countries of asylum, there's an encampment policy, which means a refugee is stuck and is only allowed to live within a camp. They cannot live outside a camp, which means they don't have livelihood opportunities. But when you are interviewing for resettlement, you interview for purposes of you're advocating for the client. So you have to wear a different hat. So resettlement is a process where we interview, normally UNHCR will interview refugees for consideration of relocating them or taking them from the country of asylum to another country, a third country where they become residents and they will live there. So what resettlement does in essence is bring an end to the refugee cycle. So resettlement tries honestly to give some sort of dignity back to the human being who's had to flee their country. So the person must be a refugee, and on top of being a refugee, they must have protection concerns in the country of asylum. I look at women and children. For example, they come, it's a lady, maybe she has 5 children. She's living in the camp. She has no livelihood opportunities. She's getting very little food rations. The likelihood of her engaging in survival sex for her to make ends meet for herself and her children are very high. And that is a person with serious protection needs. But if we can resettle this lady with her children can go to school, she can get an education, get some basic skills, and get a proper job that gives her some sort of meaningful employment, and she can provide for her children. So that's in essence what we do in resettlement. And of course, everybody wants to be resettled, but there are not enough spaces. It's all about resettlement countries. Country X can come and tell us we want 100 people. Country Y will come and tell us we want 2 people. And on top of you being told maybe 100 people, they also have their own criteria. They will tell you, for instance, we only want family sizes that are 3. So it's a balancing act. You try and balance it out, and we always honestly tell the refugee, we will interview, and we hope a country will be willing to take you and your family. And then my recent nice case, which was nice, was my applicant. I interviewed this young man and his wife. She was like 8 months into her pregnancy. I was like, okay, when the baby comes, you have to come and tell me. So I come and take the photo of the baby and include the baby in your case and process. And a week and a half before I left, the baby was born, and the husband came looking for me. It's like, the baby has come. I'm like, where's the photo? The birth certificate? Where's everything? So we literally did everything, and he's like, now you can go. I told him, now I can go. He's like, now you can go. You finished with us. I'm like, I'm done. You will go. The baby has been added. We're done. So there's some good things in our job, and they're just those nice moments. The most rewarding is when I see their names and they're going, and they're getting onto they're going, they're traveling, they're living. You know, because when you do status determination, you give somebody a recognition. Yes, they're recognized, but they're still a refugee. But the beauty about resettlement is you've interviewed this case, you know this case, and after a few weeks, you get the email that they're departing. Like this, the last couple who just gave birth, they were born and bred in Shagarab. Their parents came in the 70s from Eritrea. They've never been to Eritrea. So that's therefore they have a baby, 3 generations of refugees in the camp. The cycle has to come to an end. It has to come to an end. And you're the only hope. Why not give them that chance?